So we're just steadily going through each week. We go through a different planet. We're going through the signs, and we're just stretching and making astrology a little more real, a little more deep as we go. This can only help you as the whole package starts coming together. When the sun's in Gemini or in Virgo, it's ruled by Mercury. And when it's ruled by Mercury, it's ruled by the mind. So the sun in Virgo and the sun in Gemini, it's important to be thinking, to have their system, to be analyzing, to be thinking, to making sense out of things. So Geminis think, they make sense of things, like what they think is important. They know the best. Donald Trump's a perfect example of this. I could be president. I know things. He gets president. I'm doing it this way. This is how I see it. That's stupid. That's false news. That's wrong, because they're not thinking the way I think. I'm obviously smarter than them. They have the strong need to communicate, but it can be very mischievous. And if it's not aligned with the proper forces, as far as Sagittarius is concerned, they can do a lot of things that aren't exactly right. The right and wrong gets blurred by the Mercury. In Gemini, it's curious. It's trying anything, good and bad. Let's see. And their confidence will come from being able to explore and diversify and look at things from different ways. And the Gemini acts on its own ideas. As soon as it gets an idea, it acts on it. It gives power and confidence to that idea. So as soon as it thinks of something, I thought of it, this is creative, I'm going to go on it. They don't reflect on how it's going to affect other people or not. They're making breakthroughs with their ideas right away. That's the sun empowering that. But that sun in Gemini is not going to empower emotions or other expressions well. It's going to empower the intellectual things, which could, if the Mercury is in a water sign, it could add an element of imagination to it. But this is how the sign in Gemini starts. I need to be independent, I need to be my own thing, I need to be thinking for myself. And anything lets me think for myself, or anyone who's listening is seeing that I know what I'm knowing and I'm doing what I'm thinking, it's worth going to, and they give power to that. But it's more independent than any of the other signs, so it tends to get in a lot of trouble. It doesn't hold to the same standards of all the other signs. It's trying to make its own. And so it has really strong mental ideas about things, very diversified. They can think this way. If that gets blocked, they can think another way. They can think many ways to go at a problem. But they're usually very confident in how they're thinking, and they need to be. They make quick associations. So does the Mercury in Virgo. The sun in Virgo, if the sun's in Virgo, it's ruled by Mercury. It makes quick associations. It's very quick to intellectualize things too, and gives power to its plans and its thinking and how it thinks about what's better and what's not better, how things work. But it's more practical, thinking how to improve things, how to make things work better. This has to be fixed this way. They give importance to any ideas that might fix things or improve things. So the key words in the nature of Virgo, they're going to, even though they're somewhat self-critical in analyzing themselves and can be shy, when they find something they can do where they are thinking good thinking, they get very powerful in their thinking, and they're very smart. And they empower that. And it's not usually one-sided. It's not narrow thinking. It's really a diversity of interests. So they have the same diversity of interests as Gemini. So Gemini is trying to see how independent they can think and think for themselves. But Virgo, it's a little more self-critical. They're thinking, that's good, that's not good. I don't want to be criticized for what I'm thinking. So they're working out, they're improving their thinking, and Gemini is stretching it. But they both get power and confidence from thinking and from education, although they may not think they need it. They do. They need to build up their mind stronger and stronger. So as a kid, you're doing that as an adult still. So you'll see, if you know a Gemini or Virgo and you try and tell them what to think, you'll run into this right away. You'll see the resistance to it. They'll think you're stupid. They'll look at you. And they'll either say comments back or they'll back away and talk to other people. But the analytical side of Virgo, the critical side of the Virgo, gets empowered by the sun. And the free-thinking side of Mercury in Gemini gets empowered by the sun when it's in Gemini. And these signs get at odds with each other. There's one thinking freely, one thinking critically. And Gemini, who needs the criticism? I'm doing it. Don't tell Virgo. They're only criticizing. I'm going to do this. Tell them after. You know, they're just go with it. With Virgo saying, it's not quite ready. This isn't fixed. We've got to fix this first. And so that's the diversified. So you're just seeing how the Mercury is the guardian angel of that sign. So if the sun's there, it's going to empower Mercury things. So if you're thinking badly, you'll empower the bad thoughts. If you're thinking good thoughts, or you're thinking smart thoughts, you'll empower the smart thoughts. That whole process of thinking is going to be empowered by the sun in that sign. And when it's good, it'll be really genius. And when it's bad, it'll be really self-critical and self-depleting. So when we put the sun into Taurus or Libra, you're into the Venus-ruled signs. One's masculine, one's feminine. But the Venus in Taurus is reflective, and the Venus in Libra is projective. But one about relationship, about having things, about being in relationships. But the sun being there is going to, sun in Taurus is going to empower the having things, the being beautiful, the attracting, looking beautiful because I have nice clothes, because I look good, I have these nice things, I'm living the way I want to live. It's going to empower those things to build up my confidence. If they're having to say, I don't really have it, I don't want you to come over to my place, it's not very good, it's just a lot, they're going to be sensitive about those things. They want to have nice things in it. And they want to be appreciated or liked, they're charmed. In Libra, it's more social. It's more like the Taurus is more independent. It's just my thing. It's more practical, down to earth. This is nice. This is good. They're the masters of tastes. The Taurus. They know what's good, what's bad. They have opinions about every taste. Libras have tastes about relationships. They want to be appreciated by others. They want to share, and they have the social element of Venus of sharing beauty and grace and being a little artistic, harmonious. It comes out as the element of sharing and balancing who has what. And it's rational, it's thinking about how to balance. So the sun in Libra is empowering. I want to be appreciated for my ideas. If I have good ideas, people will want to listen to me. If people want to listen to me, I can talk forever. So being a Libra, I have this quality. I love teaching but I had to know what I was talking about before I could start teaching. But if someone's listening and somebody's appreciating it, it's easy for me to talk. I'm always trying to find power and better ideas and more qualified, more beautiful ways of looking at things. And that vision I like to share. And when I share, I feel I'm important because people think my content is important to them. Wow, that turns me on. I'll go to no ends to get a new vision so I might share it with somebody. It makes me worthwhile in a relationship. If I don't have any ideas, it's hard to maintain a relationship. Not for a Taurus. Taurus, it just has to have the comfort. Then we'll have to talk about it. So there's really distinct style here. But when I'm in love, or when a Taurus or a Libra is in love, they're happy, they're going to attract things, they're going to give things. Venus is going to be working very well. When they're not in love, when they're hurt or rejected or not feeling appreciated, this is going to get really lustful, slothful, and very inert. And they can go into the negative emotional places of vanity, of lust, jealousy, envy. That's the downside. How to get out of those things and how to shine with quality. That's the upside of the sun in Libra, the sun in Venus. In Taurus, sun in Taurus is about the things and the style. Sun in Libra is about relationships and the style. Okay. When we get to the Mars, the masculine Mars, Aries, feminine Mars, Scorpio, when you have the sun in Aries or in Scorpio, the sun is going to empower, it's going to give confidence and empower your use of force. It's going to empower muscles, force, use, make things, strength, be strong. It's going to empower these things, be committed, confront things, challenge things. It's going to be challenging. That's Mars. It's a little different than willful of the sun. It's challenging. So if the sun's in Aries, it's going to empower the impulsive, independent challenge to do things, to live, to conquer, to just try things. So the minute it goes on impulse, something comes up to do, the sun empowers it, it's going to impulsively drive to do whatever it's feeling it wants to do. That's the Mars. It's going to go on that Mars energy. In Scorpio, it's the social one. It's the we us, but it's still Mars. If we're sharing, it'll empower the moves to have a sexual experience or to be committed to someone. So your sun's in Scorpio. Do you trust? Can we trust to be really close? But it's judging whether we're together or with a team. Are we in? Are we together for a team? What are we doing? What are you doing? They empower the control over each other. If we're sexually together, we have a commitment, we're in, we have to do this, what are we doing together? And it works as a team, but it's still confronting and challenging. And when it's negative, be really jealous or angry or fighting, or even slothful, but usually it'll blow up. These signs are the signs that are challenging to be with, because if it goes wrong, they'll fight. They're not going to wimp, they'll fight, or they'll anger, there'll be a judgment or a fight around it. Now Mars and Aries, someone with the sun in Aries, they can fight, have a big blow up and forget about it 10 minutes later. But if you're living with a Cancer, the Cancer is going to remember it for the next 20 years. The Sun in Scorpio can fight, but it's going to brood on it. It's going to remember every little thing that ever happened around that fight. It doesn't change. It's a fixed, emotional, irrational sign. So each one can be powerful and incredibly worthy and noble, and the Sun will empower that. But when the Mars is wrongly directed, it can magnify the trouble that each sign can get into. So if you have your Sun in a Mars-ruled sign, it's important to have a good muscle tone, to be doing noble things. It's not wrong to be strong, but it would be wrong to hurt other people. So depending how you use it, your confidence, how refined you get it. You're gonna make mistakes as a kid. You're gonna grow up, and eventually you'll learn to use your Mars well. And your confidence will come from that. So once you see your Sun is in a sign and it's ruled by a planet, that planet, you don't have to look at it in the chart. It's enough to know that I have to aspire to the good things of that planet. If you have that planet's really afflicted and it's really difficult in your chart, it may be a little more difficult for you to live up to it. But regardless, you can ignore the natal chart and just work with the rulership first to get the clear idea of the spiritual path. Then you can, when you see the chart and you see the Mars, you can see whether Mars is strong or weak or what kind of problems it has. And those problems will be things you have to overcome to make that Sun confident.